Hey, you gotta review Galactic Renaissance.
What was that?
It's a board game.
Oh yeah, I review those.
You are supposed to, yeah.
Hey, who are you?
I'm the Cosmic Rabbit. Who the f*** are you?
In Galactic Renaissance, kindly provided to me by the folks over at Matagot, players are politicians, leading their home planets into a new era of intergalactic peace and diplomacy. Through the clever positioning of emissaries and the construction of research institutes, you'll bend the political landscape to your will. Peacefully, of course. This game doesn't quite re-implement Christian Martinez's design of Inish, but it certainly shares a spirit. Inish is a favorite of mine, a game that approaches combat like none other I've seen, and one that has some of the cleverest card play in any tabletop experience. I was naturally very excited to have this one come across my desk. Excited, but I was also wary. Is there a point to owning both of these games? Can any box rival the frankly astounding artwork of Inish? And is there a card in this game that terrifies me as much as the Geist did? The answer to that last question is a resounding yes. I will save it for later, but for my money, the scariest card in any board game exists in Galactic Renaissance. How does the game play? I have no idea. Cosmic Rabbit, why don't you come in, do your thing. All right. Hit us with the top-down camera, stare down my rabbit hole. After an initial draft where players choose a starting planet, specialist, and number of emissaries, the game begins. A player's turn is mighty simple. They're going to play one of their cards from their hand and resolve one of its green operation effects. And then, if that effect has a play again symbol underneath, which looks like this, you're never going to guess what they get to do. Once they play a card without that symbol, they check to see if any planets are in disorder. Once all planets are stable, the active player discards their cards by placing them in play order underneath their deck. Then, the active player draws up to their current hand limit, and it's the next player's turn. And that is how the game plays. I mean, we can talk about the specific things that are written on these cards, but everything's written on the cards. As long as you can read, you know how to play. I know how to read. Jog on, Galactic Bunny. Okay, first of all, I'm the Cosmic Rabbit, and second of all, hop off. It was right there. It was right there. Okay. To start, players each have all of the same 7 cards, plus one unique card that everybody chose during setup. The 7 cards that all players share are the Captain. He lets you move emissaries, these dudes, from one planet to one or more planets. How does moving work? Look at the planet your dudes are going from to see what portals they've got. Starting planets have one portal, in this case, blue. Look at the other planets on the table to see which has a blue portal. The central hub has every kind of portal. This planet has a blue and a red, so I can move emissaries to either of these planets or to both, which is what I'm going to do. This planet over here only has a yellow portal, so I can't get there from my starting planet. The Explorer. This guy puts a new planet into play with one of your emissaries. Choose which planet your emissary is coming from. Let's say over here with the red and blue portals. Choose which of those 2 portals you are heading from. I'll go with red. And then draw a planet from the big ol' stack and find its corresponding planet token. Then give it the portal that you came from, which was red, and whichever portal the Cosmic Rabbit is currently under. Hey! Cosmic Rabbit, where are you? What? Perfect. So, a yellow portal. Then move the Cosmic Rabbit one location to the right, or loop him around if he was at the end. Yep, that does mean that some planets may only have one portal if the portal you're moving from is the same as where the Cosmic Rabbit currently is. Finally, attach a stability tile to the planet and add your emissary. The Ambassador. If you have more pieces of your color on a planet than any opponent, you can take its planet token and activate it. All the planets do unique things that are good. Planet's good. The Foundation Expert. You slam down a foundation on a non-home, non-hub planet, and then you draw some specialist cards and choose one to keep. Specialist cards are a deck of unique cards that when you draw them will get mixed in with your starting agents, and they are like the planets. They are very cool, very helpful. We're not going to go over all of them or any of them, but suffice to say, they're sick. But what's a foundation? Well, aside from affecting how many specialist cards you get to choose from when you play this card, foundations may also get you that which all board gamers crave: victory points. More on those later. The Institute Director. Pop an institute somewhere that is not your homeworld, potentially paying for it with your emissaries. Institutes are helpful because playing them out lets you either draw cards, which is nice, or increase your hand limit, which is very important. The Recruiter. He gets you 5 more emissaries on your homeworld or anywhere that you have an institute. I know you saw that. I just put more emissaries than there are spaces on that planet. What the heck? You're not allowed to do that. You are, actually. I know how to play the game. You don't. I'm teaching you. Just keep that in your noggin, okay? We'll come back to it after I explain this last agent. The Senator. This is the main way to get victory points and therefore the main way to win. When you play this card, you move 1 emissary to the hub and then score victory points for each face-up objective card. Which brings us over here to the objectives. There are 16 total in the box, and you're going to use 5 every game, which just means that you're going to have some nice replayability. You don't know exactly what you're shooting for each game. That's always lovely. You might want to be leading on some planets, which means being in the majority. In the minority on others, be strong in some places, which means having exactly 2 of your player pieces there, or a handful of other possible goals. So, play the Senator, move an emissary to the hub, and then score as many points as you fulfill objectives. Early on, that'll only be a few points, maybe 2 or 3. But by the end of the game, when you're playing that Senator card, you will be racking up 10 or more points in a single turn. And 10 points in one turn is essential, because this is the victory point board. You score points 1 to 20 as you might expect, just adding them up as you would in any other game. But once you hit 20 points, the only way for any more points you score for the whole rest of the game to count is if you score 10 points in a single turn. That means if you have 20 points and you get 9, you go up to 29, and then your score marker, oh no, falls right back down the track. You are still at 20. Now, I am just explaining the rules here, right? We're not in opinion territory yet. I can't say a word that is not factual. But isn't that the coolest thing ever? Isn't that the most amazing mechanism you've ever heard? Guaranteed explosive final turns. No explosion, no win. I love it. I'm very sorry. I shouldn't have said any of that. This isn't the time. You remember that one planet that had too many emissaries? Way back at the start of the video, the Cosmic Rabbit mentioned the disorder phase, which happens after the active player plays their cards. In the disorder phase, if any planets have pieces on them that exceed their stability, this is a stability 4, this is 5, etc., it's just counting, oh baby, there's gonna be some disorder. The active player chooses in what sequence these events will resolve. In other words, if pieces spill out from the borders, then the disorders go in the order of the Hoarder of Recorders. That joke cost $18. It doesn't make sense, doesn't apply here, it just rhymes. Please like this video. For each planet in disorder, every player present on that planet has to do one of the following, starting with the active player. Remove an emissary and put it back in their reserve. Move 2 or more emissaries to 1 or more allied planets. Remove an institute. Play a card with this red disorder symbol from hand. Once every player has done one of those things, you check to see whether the pieces on the planet meet or fall below the stability number. If they do, great. Disorder resolved. If they're still over the stability limit, do another round. Keep going until the disorder is resolved, and then do that for every planet in disorder. And with that, my children, there is nothing more I can teach you. Go forth and... Well, you're not conquering, right? You're sending out emissaries and you're establishing institutes and foundations, so go forth and take a poli-sci class?
Can't hurt.
Hey, what's the deal with the Cosmic Rabbit? Well, like, what's your lore? Why do you exist?
Don't ask questions. Every galaxy has one. Somebody once told me that the galaxy must always have a cosmic rabbit.
That's weird. You're weird. I like you. Get ready for opinions, starting with that conflict resolution system.
Christian Martinez, where do you come up with these alternate combat mechanisms? I mean, Inish had that crazy rule where a combat lasts as long as at least one person in that combat wants to keep fighting. Once everyone collectively agrees, it stops. And now this system where one disorder can have a cascading effect throughout the galaxy as emissaries move to allied planets, potentially pushing them into instability. Do you prioritize having disorder cards in your hand to better position yourself on certain planets? Do you avoid disorders because they can completely change the board state in ways that may not be beneficial to you? Do you even understand how disorders help or hurt your chances to win? There are a ton of systems in this game that feel like they go right over my head. A few cards let you shift the stability number of a planet up or down, making it more or less likely to trigger a disorder there. I've played this game many a time now, and I still feel like I have no idea how to best use this to my advantage. Just no clue. This is not a game where combat is straightforward. It's not all bad, it's not all good, it's just fascinating. My main takeaway from Galactic Renaissance is that I'm just gonna feel like a novice no matter how many times I play. In every game, I get a little bit better at understanding and using these systems, but as I do, I realize that those systems go deeper than I thought. Everybody starts with just one card that lets you move bunches of emissaries around, right? The captain. And that card doesn't even have the play again symbol. But what if you want to move your emissaries twice in a turn to get to somewhere that you couldn't initially due to portal scarcity? Why not just move a bunch of your emissaries to the hub, trigger a disorder, and then take the move 2 or more emissaries to 1 or more allied planets disorder action? In the first few games I played, I just didn't put together that you could use disorders that way. And everything in this game feels like that. There are clever ways to twist odd situations in your favor all over the place. A humongous factor that I did not give enough credit to in my first few plays is how these objectives are revealed. You start the game with these two face up. When someone hits 6 points, this first objective is revealed. When someone hits 13, this second objective is flipped around. And finally, when someone hits 20 points for the first time, this final objective is revealed. These will be the objectives for the rest of the game. That's an interesting system on its own, but consider this. It is vitally important that you are the player to flip those second 2 objectives. Everyone is, of course, getting their pieces all set up to maximize their points for the currently revealed objectives, which means that if someone else scores first and gets rid of one of those objectives, you're all set up for the wrong thing. That's why the Senator card is crucial, and I haven't even talked about the lack of shuffling. Because the order that you draw your cards is the same as the order that you play your cards, you can set yourself up for some, frankly, astounding turns by just playing a little suboptimally earlier in the game. You could chain together a bunch of cards with that play again symbol by holding on to cards that don't have it. Is it worth kind of wasting that ability in the moment to set up for one mega turn later on? I don't know. But it sounds fun, and we should try it. Okay, there are a few positives that I want to end on, but first, let me say my genuinely quite few complaints that I've got about this game. First, Foundations and Institutes. This is something that got easier the more I played, but I don't know. These are different pieces that do different things, but the words themselves are really similar. All of the objective cards that refer to Foundations or Institutes have a little symbol on the cards that show the shape of the building. Those symbols are not present on the agent cards that refer to those buildings. Why not? And while we're hanging around the negatives, let's talk terror. It's October, so it's a good month for scares. Inish's Geist card scared me because of what he did. This card scares me because... look at this guy. The Peacemaker? I don't think so. I don't want to take this too far or anything, but this guy deserves a swift death. I'm just going to say it. And that swiftness, by the way, it's not for his sake, it's for his executioner. Okay, I'll shut up about him, but when he shows up in your dreams, you're gonna be on my side. Another slight disappointment is the beginning of the game. Once you're through the first 3 or 4 turns, everything chugs along nicely. But initially, it is very possible to have an opening hand that is next to, if not fully useless, and the other players might not. In my experience, this evens out pretty quickly and doesn't often skew the game one way or the other. It just sometimes feels like you suck at Galactic Renaissance when really all that happened is you got an unlucky initial shuffle. This might be a weird thing to complain about, but whatever, I'm gonna do it. The correct way to play this game, as in the way that it is written in the rulebook, is that you can either play a specialist card for its written effect, or you can simply play it to draw a card and play again. Obviously, this is very helpful if you are digging through your deck for the Senator, for instance. But I did not play that way my first few games. This is totally on me. It is written in the rulebook. It is written on reference cards. I just missed it, I guess, and we just assumed that specialist cards did what was listed on their card and nothing else. And I gotta say, it was awesome. It meant the specialist cards were a little dangerous. They still did good things, certainly, but they also clogged up your deck. And at the end of the game, when you are desperate to find that Senator card to win the game, that's spicy. That bit of added cost-benefit analysis was a lot of fun, and it led to a lot of interesting decisions, like whether to burn unhelpful specialists early on with the recruiter. Playing as intended, that bite, that meanness was gone. It made specialist cards all upside, an effect that may be useful, and if not, no worries, just draw again. I have to say, having played both ways, I might be house ruling specialist cards to only do what is printed on their cards, no free draw option available. But the positive side of this is how much that one change breaks this game open. It is two completely different experiences, and even though one of the ways isn't the right way to play, it still works. I shouldn't judge a game based on how I played it wrong, but if you own Galactic Renaissance, maybe try playing it wrong. I think I like it more. And real question to Christian Martinez, did you test this game without that specialist draw ability? And if you did, what made you decide to add that in? Fully just curious. 3 final positives. 1. The artwork. Aside from the scariest peacemaker in the known universe, this game simultaneously looks gorgeous and unlike any other game that I've played. I don't know what this art style is, but I love it. Dozens of unique aliens rendered beautifully on these giant cards. Hell yeah. The planets also look nice, but come on, it's the cards. I think Inish still wins the remarkable artwork game, but Galactic Renaissance gives it a run for its money. 2, the portals. Making it so that every planet isn't adjacent to every other planet. What a fantastic wrinkle. I can't tell you how many game-winning turns I had all mapped out only to realize, whoa, if I did that, I would be cheating. And yeah, those portal rules did take away some game-winning turns, but they force you to be cleverer. If you could just go anywhere, anytime, the points wouldn't feel as hard won. Maybe my biggest takeaway from Galactic Renaissance is how much limitations can do to make you feel smart. Which brings us to the last point before I give my score. And would you look at that? It's the score that we're here to talk about now. It's almost like I wrote this review. 10 points in one turn. You cannot win unless you get at least 10 points in one turn. How many games have you played where the last turn just falls flat as an anticlimax? Even if you lose this game, you lose to a big moment, and you gotta hand it to your opponent. They pulled something off. It's still possible for the end of this game to be an anticlimax, because you can see the board state, so you often know what's coming, but in my experience, because of that mad scramble for the Senator, it is rarely dull. You lose and you just have to sigh and say, good game. And if you win, the pieces that have to fall into place, the cards that have to come out in the right order, the order that you put them in, with the pieces that you placed, you feel like a damn genius. For context, Inish is sitting at a 10 out of 10 for me. I know it's not most people's favorite Dudes on a Map game, but it's mine. So Galactic Renaissance had some massive shoes to fill. And no, this is not getting all the way up to that 10, but I gotta say, I am extremely happy to own both Galactic Renaissance and Inish. Unlike the Kemet and Yucatan duel, where Kemet is more than welcome to stay, and Yucatan is not allowed to sleep in my yard, I am very happy to say that Galactic Renaissance and Inish are both distinct and both great. Rules as written, Galactic Renaissance is an 8 out of 10. Playing it a little wrong and a little meaner as far as those specialists go, and Galactic Renaissance is an 8.5 out of 10, which I know is weird, but seriously, if you've got it, try it. Now, where is that bunny? I've got some questions about why he hides eggs. Huh? Hey,
I think you forgot something.
Nope. I'm out of here.
No, I thought the galaxy must always have a cosmic rabbit.
It does. Good luck, kid.
No. No. No! Wait, is this a bad thing? Portal. Portal. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's the end of the video. Please tell your friends about it, and then they can tell their friends, and then those friends can tell more friends, and pretty soon, I'll be the only channel on YouTube. Yeah, I like that. Okay, Cosmic Rabbit out.